This is the Nigerian Elections Debate Group, NEDG. Welcome to the third session of the Vice Presidential Debates. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening and welcome to the 2015 Vice Presidential Elections Debate. It is one in the series of debates organized by the Nigerian Elections Debate Group, NEDG. Of course, it's a platform for all political office seekers to speak on issues of the visions and manifestos of their political parties, as well as to speak to the largest, perhaps the largest radio and television audience ever in the history of broadcasting in Nigeria. And for the electorate, it provides them the opportunity to have a clearer understanding, digest and assimilate the issues and plans of the various parties to be able to make informed vote decisions at the polls. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to, at this point, intimate you that this is the third session of the debate so far tonight. We've had two sessions. The first one just ended a few minutes, 1 hour, a few minutes ago. This is the third session. I'll quickly call up the candidates onto the dais. I'll quickly call on the representative of the COA party, Seidu Bubai. And I'm doing so in alphabetical order. Thank you very much. I'd also like to welcome onto the dais the Vice Presidential candidate for the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, Architect Mohammed Namadi Sambo. Thank you very much and welcome. And last but certainly not the least tonight, we have the United Progressives Party, UPP. He is Barrister Bello Omar. Thank you very much. Now the NEDG, that is the Nigerian Election Debate Group, invited all 14 political parties to this debate. Some of them responded by their physical presence, others by way of telephone calls to explain why they are unable to feature. However, up till now, the All Progressives Congress Party, the APC, has not communicated in any way with the NEDG on whether or not its candidates will participate in the debates. We thought we should clarify that. My name is Claire Adelabu Abdul Razak of the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA, and of course I have very distinguished two-man panel. They need no introduction. Very distinguished gentlemen in their chosen careers. I'd just like them to introduce themselves. To my immediate left,
Professor Rav Akinfeleye of the Department of Mass Communication, University of Lagos.
Thank you very much. A professor of many years standing. And also to my right, someone who needs little or no introduction, a veteran broadcaster.
My name is Muhammad Kudu Abubakar with the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
Thank you, Mohammed. All right, at this point, I'd like to quickly invite onto the dais Chairman, NEDG, Nigerian Election Debate Group, Debate Format and Rules Working Committee. I'm talking about Aremo Taiwo Alimi for his opening remarks.
Good evening. From the Africa Hall of the International Conference Center, Abuja, I welcome you to this evening session of the Nigeria 2015 Vice Presidential Debate organized by the Nigerian Elections Debates Group. My name is Taiwo Alimi. The Nigerian Elections Debates Group, NEDG, is a broad-based national coalition of the media, civil society organizations, and professional associations working together to host presidential debates for candidates seeking elective offices. For purposes of clarity, NEDG is non-partisan, non-political, and independent, designed to ensure that political debates become a permanent feature of Nigeria's democracy and culture. NEDG has a board of trustees with Mr. Shola Amole, DJNTA, as chairman. The NDG platform remains the most credible and the most powerful forum that will enable presidential and vice presidential candidates present their policies and programs directly to several millions of Nigerians at home and abroad at a go. Through debates on issues, not persons, not religion, not ethnicity, we promote political tolerance, politics without bitterness, constructive dialogue, and politics of service to the people. I now proceed to hand over the envelopes containing the questions to be asked to the moderator and panelists, which they will be seeing for the first time. I thank you all.
I think by the power vested in me, I'd like to ask the audience to applaud. They may wish to applaud, but only for now. The next time you will be directed to applaud or clap will be at the end of this debate. Please, the audience may wish to applaud right now. Thank you. Quickly, let me introduce our accurate timekeeper, Cyril Aidebama. He is just to my far left. Cyril, just take a wave offering for identification. Thank you. And to my far right, I have Kunle Iroko. He is the sign language interpreter. Kunle, just give us a handshake. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Once again, welcome to the Africa Hall of the International Conference Center, Abuja, venue of Nigeria's 2015 presidential debates under the aegis of the Nigerian Elections Debate Group, NEDG. NEDG is a coalition of the Nigerian media, professional bodies, women groups, and other civil society organizations. The 2015 presidential debates is supported also by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, BORN, National Orientation Agency, NOA, National Democratic Institute, NDI, and the Department for International Development, DFID, Nigeria. We'll quickly acquaint you with the details and rules of the debate. Pairing of parties for each session of the debate is according to the party's visibility in the senatorial and House of Representatives contest. We have relied strictly on the approved list of candidates issued by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The rules are the same for every day and every session. Now, each candidate is allowed 3 minutes for opening statement. The candidate who speaks first is determined by a toss of the coin, which is done off camera. And let me quickly also tell you that we will not also rely solely on the human timekeeper over there. We have electronic timekeeping also, which will be visible to the audience, to the candidates, and to the viewer at home. It takes from 3 minutes down to 0, and at the end of 0, every candidate or the candidate speaking will stop. Now, like I said earlier on, each candidate is allowed 3 minutes for opening statement. Questions are limited to broad areas already disclosed to the candidates. We did not participate. The two panelists and I did not participate. We did not take part. We do not have privy knowledge of the questions, except, of course, as handed over to us presently by the chairman of the NEDG Debates Format Rules and Working Committee, Aremo Taiwo Alimi. And we will proceed to open the questions. There shall be 3 minutes response by other candidates. The moderator is allowed follow-up questions based on issues raised in the rebuttal. The use of profane, abusive language is strictly not allowed. Direct attacks on candidates' personality are prohibited. We will uphold the highest sense of discipline, decency, and decorum in the course of this debate. We will maintain all our rules. We intend to keep them religiously and strictly. We will not allow the candidates to overshoot their time. Once it's 3, once it's 0, you will stop. Now, once again, the time allowed for questions to be answered must be strictly adhered to. For timing again, we have our accurate timekeeper there. We have the electronic time device. At this point, we will, in the spirit of the Nigerian unity, the Nigerian brotherliness, crave the indulgence of the candidates to exchange pleasantries by way of handshake or embrace, as the case may be. Please, you may proceed to do so. All right, of course, the audience, again, by the powers vested on me, may also wish to acknowledge by clapping or applauding. And once again, let me quickly add that we have a live non-participatory audience. The audience is not allowed to interrupt, applaud, cheer, yell, or say anything while the debate is on, and we intend to keep strictly by that rule. I expect that we have a wonderful audience here. All telephone sets must be switched off or put on silent mode, and we will crave the indulgence of our candidates. If you wish to put aside your phones, we can ask the ushers to walk up to you. Otherwise, we ask that your phones be switched off. Thank you. Once again, the political parties participating in today's debate, let me quickly remind you that we have the vice presidential candidate representing COA Party, KP, Seidu Bubai. We also have the vice presidential candidate representing the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, Architect Mohammed Namadi Sambo. We also have the representatives of the United Progressives Party, UPP, Barrister Bello Umar. Distinguished candidates, thank you for joining us. We'll proceed to open the questions. Distinguished candidates of the 2015 Vice Presidential Elections debate, audience, wonderful audience. The debate starts right now. We have the questions, and my first question, number 1. All right. And that goes to you, COA Party. Experts seem to agree that the best period for Nigeria's economic growth was during the period of national development plans, which has now been jettisoned. If you're elected, what development model would you have for Nigerians? COA Party.
Well, thank you very much. Fellow Nigerians, our development plan goes to the existing plans that we have since the inception of Nigeria after independence. So many plans have been accruing, so many changes in the plan, in our development plan. But ours, we consider it that up till today, there is no single plan that was allowed to be implemented throughout the period which we stay. Every administration, when it came in, they will change their plan. So what we are going to do, if we are elected as presidents and vice president, COA Party, what we are going to do is to ensure that this plan we are adhere to, we look at it critically and readjust where necessary, and also ensure the planning. One good issue that is disturbing Nigerians always is the implementation and the attitude of Nigerians towards sacrifice to the nation. We look at everything as just an incentive to us. Nobody is care for the development of the nation, and the developmental plan and program were not yet been allowed to follow certain process to a situation whereby we can have them implemented, we can have them drawn, we can have them designed. And I think this is the cardinal problem that is disturbing us. Ours, we must to ensure that there is attitudinal changes by Nigerians towards our program, because we are now experiencing a critical moment in the history of our economy. The falling down of petroleum, of fuel, crude oil product will impact negatively into so many sectors of the economy. Our profit, our GDP, our GNI, and also the inflation will also rise, and it will create a very serious problem within the economy. Now, I think if tactical issues were not addressed to address the issue of design, plan, and implementation, and also implementation of our budgetary allocation, I think this will create a very serious problem into our economy, and the plan will not be implemented.
All right, thank you very much. And I want to at this point sincerely apologize. It is my fault. I jumped the gun. Actually, we should have started with your opening statements and the visions of your party, but you've had the floor to answer the first question. I know that the other candidates will have their turns, but let's return to the beginning. I'd like you to, again, COA Party, to talk to us briefly about the vision of your party.
Thank you very much. Well, before doing that, I want to use the opportunity to thank the organizers of this program. And this is what we are expecting from all Nigerians, all the sector organization of Nigeria. Everybody should contribute meaningfully to the development of democracy. Because of democracy, we are here today. Because of democracy, we have a serious transformation in our program and day-to-day life. So I thank most sincerely the organizers of this program, and I hope other organizations and individuals will also contribute meaningfully to the development of democracy in our dear country. Well, having said this, COA Party is a registered political party by the Independent National Electoral Commission in the 2009 July. And our slogan is "Together we make a difference." Together we make a difference. And also our logo is handset. Our logo is handset. Ours is to make a difference. By making a difference, we want to shine a way for the normal practice and also bring something in new. COA is not an acronym. It is a word that is embedded in about more than 70 different languages in Nigeria. Okay. The intonation may be different. Either COA or COA or COA. Either rising, falling, falling, rising, rising, or falling, falling. Even if whatever. But COA reflects in more than 70 languages. We are saying that this is the first time in history whereby an indigenous word sounds as a name of political party. In other way, we are trying to make everything useful to Nigerian, to localize everything, to forget about importing other issues. That's how we are going to make a difference at the beginning. From the word party, from the name of the party, it appears COA. And also, in our activity, for the first time in the history, we are now bringing in a presidential candidate who is a female, actually. By this, we are creating another different. We are making a paradigm shift, because there are contributions that made in so many places, in so many disciplines, by women. And also, our presidential candidate, Professor Mrs. Oluremi Shonaya, she was a lecturer, and she rose up to professorship. By so doing, to tell you that she is fully committed, fully ready to serve us. And here is she availed herself available to the development of Nigeria, and she wants to contribute her quota to this development. And this is COA Party. Thank you.
Thank you, COA Party. You talked about the handset as your logo. Could you tell us why you chose the handset for your logo?
Yeah, because of communication. The idea of together we make a difference, we can be together. There is a serious communication between us, both facial, physical, electronic, so on and so forth. With this, we will go into, because I said earlier on that we made to make attitudinal changes by Nigerians to accept that this country is our country and we have something to offer. There are so many things that this country demanding from us. So I think that's why we make this handset to be our logo for proper identification and also for proper togetherness. Thank you.
All right, we'll move on now to the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Architect Mohammed Namadi Sambo. 3 minutes for your opening statements.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank you very much for this singular opportunity to speak to the audience here and those at home, and to state that the People's Democratic Party has been developing Nigeria, has been putting Nigeria forward since 1999 in Nigeria. The People's Democratic Party has transformed this country. For those of us that are from the ages of 20 to 25, all the development that has happened is within the contribution that the People's Democratic Party has been putting in this country. Our party has successfully changed Nigeria in the last 4 years under the leadership of Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, our president, and the manifesto of the People's Democratic Party. We have been able to change and transform this country by having a position of leading the economy in Africa. And I'm even pleased to note that my friend and colleague, has a handset telephone, because this is one of the successes of the People's Democratic Party. When we started, Nigeria had only about 500 or 700,000 telephone lines. Today, as we speak to you, we have over 120 telephone owners in Nigeria. This is a great success to the extent that that sector today is contributing almost 8% of the GDP of Nigeria. So this is one good example that the success of the People's Democratic Party has gone to the extent of developing, this country and people appreciating what we are doing. But just that is, by the way, the economic changes, the development of this country, development of our infrastructure, development of the human capacity, pushing this country forward is one of the great successes that with this and what we are putting in place, I call on all Nigerians to continue to support the People's Democratic Party and to support.
Thank you very much. Your time is up.
Thank you.
Architect Mohammed Namadi Sambo, representing the People's Democratic Party. We'll move quickly on to Barrister Bello Umar, United Progressives Party, UPP. Your opening statements in just 3 minutes.
Thank you very much. As the name UPP sounds, we are progressives. We are fully aware of the Nigerian desire to have a democratically elected government with revolutionary policies, hence our appearance at the arena. We are for the masses. We come to bring prosperity to Nigerians. You may agree with me that the present dispensation as we're experiencing They have done less. Much is needed to be done. And that can be done through what we caption as revolutionary policies. Policies that will ensure and provide, or rather create an environment which will provide political and economic space for each and every Nigerian to contribute his own quota towards the development of this nation. In doing that, we are much concerned with the security of this nation. We therefore design our policies towards ensuring towards ensuring a lasting peace in the country. We intend, by the grace of God, if voted for power, to give top priority to security matters. Security boards, we shall ensure that is tied to the security matters and accounted for. We shall ensure that our security personnel, we believe in Nigeria we have the best forces. We have the best security forces. What we don't have is encouragement. We need to encourage them. We need to train them well with the modern equipment. We need to give them. We need to enhance their welfare so that they can give the best of service to their mother nation. Secondly, the economy of the country, believe me or not, is in the state of collapse. We have designed our policies to ensure that we do not rely on the oil sector alone. There are a lot of other sectors we can generate funds for the growth of our economy. Agriculture is there. Earlier, before now, even before the inception of the nation itself, we've been surviving on agriculture. The sector need to receive an impetus and a mechanization tied with the local government to ensure food growth, availability, and affordability.
Your time is up, I'm afraid. Your
Yes.
time is up. Barrister Bello Umar, United Progressives Party, UPP. Now, I return to my first question. And COA Party, you've had your turn. I don't expect that you would wish to take that question again. You've had your turn for the first question. So, pass the baton to Architect Mohammed Namadi Sambo, candidate for the People's Democratic Party. The first question was on the model that your party has for Nigeria, and this is coming against the heels of belief by experts that the best period for Nigeria's economic growth was during the period of the National Development Plans, which has now been jettisoned. What new model do you have for Nigeria?
Thank you very much. When we came in, we noticed that over the years in Nigeria, it has been extremely difficult to transform the country, to improve the economy, and to move forward. Countries were told, like Brazil, India, Indonesia, were at almost the same level in the 60s. But it turned out that they have gone far above this country. And so therefore, what we did first is to look at what are these factors that have been militating against the growth and development of Nigeria. And we came up with a think tank that developed the Vision 2020, and out of that, we developed the National Infrastructure Development Plan. Out of that, we also developed the National Industrial Plan, and under the National Industrial Plan, we have other policies like the cement policy, sugar policy, rice policy. We had policies that take care of all the value chains. For the Integrated Infrastructure Development Plan, when you look at the requirement of the infrastructure that we need to develop this country, resources from the public sector alone cannot meet it. And part of the new change is that we brought in the public-private partnership in the development of our infrastructure. And the factors, the areas that we identified that we are contributing to, resisting our development include the power sector, the transport sector, education sector, etc. And what we did is to address these factors. Take, for example, the power sector. The first dramatic effect and change that we did was to privatize the power sector, bring in new institutional framework, develop the physical requirement, increase the power generation, increase the transmission, the distribution, and I am pleased to say that with this, within 4 years, we were able to construct a power infrastructure within 4 years that is more than the total power infrastructure that has been put in Nigeria right from the beginning up to 2010. And with that,
I'm afraid that's your time is up. Barrister Bello Umar, United Progressive Party, UPP, your turn.
Yes. Earlier, before I was cut off, I was talking about the agricultural sector. It is our belief, if we can improve the standard of agriculture in Nigeria, coupled with the other industries, the Nigerian economy will boost. What we're experiencing today is a signal to us that in the next few months or years to come, oil will be a history. So what's the way out? We have to develop our industries, technology, communication sector, to ensure that we generate revenue enough to manage the country as we find ourselves wanting. We are not satisfied with what is obtained today. When brought into power, we shall endeavor, try our best to see that we improved all other sectors we have just mentioned to ensure that Nigerians survive on what they generated. They are not on the mercy of the oil. If we consider the world today, oil, almost some of the world countries have their own oil, so they don't need to go looking for it. What do you do then to complement that gap given? Is to fall back to the earlier economic sources. That's to say, the agriculture, the industries, the technology, the communication, and other things. And we believe if that is done, Nigeria will excel. The economy will grow. Nigerians will prosper by the grace of God.
Thank you very much. It's the panelists' turn now to take their questions.
Thank you. Nigeria is branded as the most populous nation, not only in the continent of Africa, but on earth. Nigeria is also branded as the darkest nation on earth. Despite all the human and financial resources that has been devoted to improvement of this sector, Nigerians are most anxious to know, if elected, what would your party do differently to resolve Nigerian power challenges?
Coa party, please.
To resolve
power.
Come again?
Power challenges.
Power channels?
Yes, energy.
Okay. Thank you very much. Well, if we are elected, we must ensure that the present transformation on power sector has been continued with some little amendment here and there, because maybe it has to do with the ability of those that were allowed to participate in the power sector and bring about synergy in the sector that is becoming problem. Up to now, there is no appreciable level of coherence within what was left before and what is there on. What is happening in, you can find so many issues on paper, but if you go to the real scene, it's not happening. So what is happening? Where is the linkage? Those of us that come from the grassroots, from the local area, knows that still what we are witnessing in power sector 13 years ago or so, we are still witnessing. This is exactly what is happening in our area. In fact, there is a very serious darkness in some issues that has to do with the power supply. What we are going to do, we are going to allow every region to produce its energy with the raw materials or energy that they have to be used as an alternative than allowing to remain in the present sector. We are going to diversify the sources of our energy to ensure that we have moved forward, at least from where we are. It seems that there is a problem still with the power, with the energy sector, that we cannot at least adhere to. That is what we are going to do. We are going to diversify the sector into another discipline.
Thank you, COA Party. It's time for the PDP.
Thank you very much. As I was saying regarding the issue of power, we have a very clear understanding of what we need to do and what we are doing already to resolve and solve the issue of power supply in this country. As I was saying, the power sector need to be reformed, transformed, and we are doing the reform and we are transforming. When we came in as an administration 4 years ago, power generation in this country was only about 2,000 megawatts. And today, we are generating 4,500 megawatts. And this will continue. And there is no doubt that in this country, people are already feeling the positive effect of this additional power generation in Nigeria. And the way and how we did this was to address the need to generate, to transmit, and to distribute. As I speak, we have added 10 new thermal power plants in Nigeria. 100% completed. Most of them are already injecting power, which is resulting to the increase of power that we have. We have constructed 3,500 kilometers of transmission lines in this country, mix of 132 and 330 lines, and associated substations. We have constructed about 295 injection substations and distribution lines in this country. And so by that, we have added infrastructure that will put in about 4,700 megawatts to the existing infrastructure that we have. The power plants that we privatize, already the new owners, the private sector, are expanding the facilities that we have. So by this, we have taken the right direction to address the problem of power supply. But not only that, we are also going into other areas. As I speak to you, we are constructing several hydropower plants. Hydropower plants have been chosen in order to add the mixed generation, because thermal power plants depend on gas. The gas is being developed. We have a special gas master plan. In Zungeru, construction right now is going on for a 700 megawatt hydropower plant. Contract has been signed and funds provided for the Mambila hydropower project in Taraba State. This project will add 3,050 megawatts when completed. We have the Kashambila hydropower. We have the Burara.
Your time is up. I'm afraid, Architect Mohammed Namba Disambo, your time is up. We'll quickly move to United Progressives Party, UPP. Yes. Barrister Bello Umar.
Yes, on the sector of energy, it is our belief that the issue of hydroelectricity and solar energy is not enough to solve Nigerian problems. We are fully aware of the fact that more than 40% of Nigerians are earning their living on electricity. In line with the same, it is the intendment of our government, if voted to power, to enter into negotiation with other countries to go for nuclear to generate energy, and that we shall pursue immediately we assume office by the grace of God, to put an end to energy problem. That's our stand.
All right. Thank you very much, UNPP. UPP, beg your pardon, Barrister Bello Umar. Mohammed?
Well, closely related to issue of power generation, coal, gas, and hydro and solar is the issue of petroleum, and taking you back to our main source of revenue. Nigeria is believed to be losing about 400,000 barrels of oil a day to oil theft, pipeline vandalism, and related vices in the oil sector. What drastic approach will you apply to reverse this challenge if you are elected into government?
Yeah, Kowa Party, please.
Well, thank you very much. I think the idea of petroleum distribution and is another issue entirely that requires a serious approach and focus to redesign the plan and program. And what we have a number of depots in Nigeria, and these depots were not even supplying petroleum product in their respective areas as was initially designed. And this has to do with the idea of, what do you say, pipeline vandalization and so many viruses. But what we are going to do, as I said earlier on, there is a need for also Nigerian to have a serious attitudinal change in our character on the issue that has to do with our economy. Because whatever plan that government will put in place, if the people refuse to appreciate that plan and program, then we will continue having problem here and there, always together. And even if you tackle this issue through putting up laws and regulation, it will continue. They will continue doing another sharp practice to also do what they want to do. I think we are going to provide justice to people. We are going to provide employment to people. We are going to provide so many issues that was based, that bring about criminal acts on our economy should be considered first. Then we go to the master plan of addressing the issue entirely. Now the idea is that we are going to build additional refineries in all the 6 geopolitical zones as next action of approach and focus that we are going to do. After we build about 6 refineries in all the geopolitical, now we reduce the number of pipe that we are going to use, the link between the refineries and the depot. And I think by doing so, we are going to drastically address the issue of vandalization of pipes and maintenance of our pipes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kowa Party. We move on to the PDP.
Thank you very much. I think you were referring to the issue of crude loss, theft, 400,000 barrels per day. I need to give some clarification here. You see, it is not correct to say there is 400,000 that is lost as a result of theft, actually. What happens? Let me give the clarification. You see, when a pipeline, crude pipeline, is vandalized, and different wells contribute to those pipelines, and what the companies do is that once there is that breakage of the pipe, they shut down the pipeline itself completely. So the result of the shutting down reduces the volume of crude to go out for export. And that is how the total number comes to about 400,000. I think this clarification is very important. But the actual loss is not more than about 100,000 barrels. So that is very important to understand. But to stop even the volume that is being vandalized, a lot of actions are being taken. Today, we have a special task force that is working within the areas of these pipelines, and they are working very well. The Navy and other security agencies are doing a good job today. But not only that, this stolen crude end up at foreign refineries. What we have done now is to bring in the issue of talking to other countries to ensure that those refineries that are buying this stolen crude are also, brought in a manner such that we will stop this stealing, because it takes two to tangle. If the people steal, they must have somebody that will buy. Crude oil is not like common water. So therefore, we are now expanding the approach on how to stop this criminal activity, and we are succeeding in that direction.
Thank you, PDP, and it's your turn, UPP, United Progressives Party.
Yes. All the explanations confirmed, yes, we are experiencing vandalization of fuel and theft. Since there are other refineries where those people carrying this crude oil used to take it to for refining. In that situation, we have to still fall back to issue of security. Once we have a sound security system, I believe all issue of vandalization, theft, and whatever will give way. What we need to do to enhance and equip our securities, train them with the modern technologies to fight vandalizers of our crude oil and ensure that all oil generated goes to government coffers. And I believe if we do that, we shall succeed by the grace of God.
All right, thank you, UPP Party, Barrister Bello Omar, for your response. I'd just like to quickly add that this debate is broadcast by all radio and television stations in Nigeria and outside the shores of Nigeria. We are also streamed live by social network platforms, just to inform you. Now, if you ask any Nigerian what the problem or challenge of Nigeria is, and the response you get is leadership. Now, every hurdle, every challenge in every sector of the economy is narrowed down to the issue of leadership. My question, Kowa Party, that's your turn, is what is your understanding of the leadership problem? And if elected, how would your party handle this enduring challenge?
Thank you very much. Leadership problem is a very critical issue that is part of the yearning and aspiration of Nigeria to have this leadership issue is being adhered to, whereby a leader will become a servant of the people, not a ruler of the people. I've been saying this in so many occasions where I found it necessary that we have experienced so many rulers at the beginning. Rulers. They are ever calling their names rulers. Supreme Military Council Military Rule, Armed Force Ruling Council, Provisional Ruling Council, Power. PDP Power is also ruling party. We are saying that what we require is leadership. Purposeful leadership, objective leadership, a leadership that will adhere, a leadership that will be just, a leadership that will bring about people together, a leadership that can help to drive people, a leadership that can work for the people, not centralized leadership. Leadership that will allow the system to function effectively. Leadership that will be decentralized from the Asorok to the various respective ministries and departments. A leadership that is coherent. A leadership that will adhere to the rule of law. A leadership that will be democrat. Not 16 is greater than 19. Not 7 is greater than 19. A leadership that will concur with the rules governing the affairs of the people. And this type of leadership is what COA party is planning to bring about. Leadership by example. However, politicians, normally we have our own arithmetic. One of the most famous politicians that I respect in my life, he is now late, Dr. Chuba Okadibo, said something, and I see that is what we are seeing today. He said, for you to read and master the political sarcasm, you need to know, for you to understand the political arithmetic. That is, you need to master the political sarcasm for you to read the political arithmetic. In our politics, our arithmetic is quite different from the normal politics, from the normal issues. And democracy is about number. So leadership should be focused, should be responsible, should be made for people, and allow people also to participate, and allow people make objective criticism. Thank you.
Thank you, COA party, the PDP, your turn.
Thank you very much. Yes, my friend, the PDP power, that power is belonging to the people. The PDP government is a government, a party that belongs to the people, and it is the people that have the power. And that is why this administration, for the first time, one of the liberties and important issues to do with leadership today is what our president has put in Nigeria. Before 2011 election, a lot of Nigerians have issues and problems with having the right to vote. Mr. President ensured that there is free and fair election. And for the first time, we found people sleeping in different locations to ensure that they have that voting right. And that alone have changed the course of this country. To have a free and fair election for a leader that will give you the chance that you have the right to choose who will be your leader, who will be the person that will serve you. And I think that is very, very important. And that is, since then, the trend that has been going on, that today people are ensuring that they get their PVC cards so that they will have the right to select who will be their leader. So therefore, the leadership that the People's Democratic Party is given and the leadership of our president is the leadership that is in the right direction. The leadership that gives the rule of law, the leadership that gives you the freedom to speak, the leadership. There is no journalist in this country today that will say, because of what he has said, or any person that he has been harassed or jailed because of what he says or what he is insinuating. So therefore, Today we are lucky that the People's Democratic Party has put forward to this country the leadership that is needed for the growth of our country. And this has been proved in many sectors. As I said, our economy has grown to the best economy. We have provided all that is needed to have access to education to all Nigerians. We have improved access.
Thank you very much for abiding by our time. Thank you very much, Architect Mohammed Namadi Sambal, Vice Presidential Candidate of the People's Democratic Party. UPP, it's your turn.
Yes. In UPP, we believe in transparency and justice, and ensuring that we have good leadership. It is part of our agenda, our revolutionary policies, that if voted to power, we shall ensure the removal of immunity to public officers of the same. That will provide a room for check and balances, and whoever is found wanting will face the law. We shall ensure that everybody is given a level playing ground, and that all ill health, all perceived ill wealth, queried, investigated, and prosecuted. If we do that, we shall, by the grace of God, have leaders who will have conscience of what will follow if they behave abnormally, and therefore will be forced to abide by the rules of law as defined by Constitution. That's our stand.
All right. Thank you very much, UPP Party. Mohammed?
Well, from the issue of leadership, I want to take us to the issue of the diversification of the economy. Because of the downturn, or rather the crashing of the oil price in the international market, there are calls now for the diversification of the Nigeria's economy, and people across board are pointing towards agriculture. But scholars are beginning to say that the Land Use Act has obstructed socio-economic development in Nigeria. What concrete plans do you have for land use reforms so that more Nigerians can go back to agriculture and we can improve the GDP?
All right. I will call on COA Party.
Okay. Ours, in terms of diversification, our economy into agriculture, with regard to the pending issues, that is the National Assembly on Land Act. What we are now experiencing is a serious drop in our economy. Now, you need short-time action that will bring about changes in our economy for you to sustain the economy and allow the government run to day-to-day activities of the government. Because if you can look at it now, with the present situation that we were in now, for us to diversify directly and immediately to the agriculture and we start yielding profit immediately is going to be a serious problem. However, I have been keeping saying that we need to revamp our Upper Benue River Basin and ensure that they have functioned very well, especially in the irrigation farming. Our rainin farming in the last 2 years, as we can witness, there are so many floods that disrupted the rainin farming program. So what we need to do now is to revamp our Upper Benue River Basin and our dam, and also create a serious synergy between the government and the people to design program in the way and manner people want it to be, especially the farmers. What we are witnessing always, when a government designs a program and the farmers were not involved in designing that program, so people were not very care to adhere to the approved design program by the government. Instead, they prefer to go on their own. And also on the issue of giving incentive or encouraging farmers, there is misplacement of priority by the side of the government sometimes. That instead you take incentive or the program to the farmers, you take it to the party. And the party will now call the people, and you say even fertilizer are being distributed in a political party office. And so many other things. So there is a misplacement of priority, there is inconsistency, and we need to address this while we are diversifying our economy to allow the regional to give input in their economy and to the farming base.
Your time is up, and again, I'd just quickly like to remind the debaters that the use of profane, abusive language is not allowed, and we will also not allow direct attack on the candidate's personality. Please, we would like to uphold the rules very strictly. PDP, it's your turn.
Thank you. The question is the issue of how we use the Land Use Act.
The question is, what concrete plans do you have for land use reforms?
Yes. The plans we have is that as I speak to you, we have set up a committee chaired by one of a Nigerian, internationally renowned planner, Professor Peter Adeni, who have completed their report and presented to the National Economic Council, which I chair. And this report, because as you know, the issue of land, a lot of it rests at the state governments and local government levels. And that was why that report had to be presented to the National Economic Council, where all the governors of the states are members. That has been reviewed, and we are now awaiting the comments and contributions from the state government, and then we will have a final position. But key issues of this reform and review of the Land Use Act is that in Nigeria today, a lot of farmers have land, but this land is of not great use to them. Because one of the problems of development is access to financing. So if you have land and you do not have the ownership of that land in paper, that is certificate to own the land, you cannot use the land to be able to access financing. So we are losing trillions of naira that could go into the farmers and develop agriculture just because the farmers do not have that. So one of the things we are going to do is to ensure the survey of all the farmlands we have in this country so that our local farmers will have proper ownership, and those farmers will be able to utilize this land to be able to access financing, which will now help in the economic development and agricultural development of these farmers.
Thank you. UPP?
Yes, I'm happy to hear this from Mr. Vice President, but with due respect, it's too slow. UPP is going to face that challenges with the boldness of Tiger. We are going to ensure that Land Use Act is amended within the shortest possible time to accommodate agriculture so that we can grow food and make it available and affordable to Nigerian citizens, and in turn export it to other countries for economic growth. On the other hand, it is also within our policy to do the best we can, right from the grassroots, from the local government level to the federal level, to ensure that we have a complete register of our farmers and we are going to make an arrangement with free financial institutions to be financing agriculture so that the masses, the peasant farmers, will benefit all and will contribute their own quota to the development of the nation. That's our stand.
UPP, what aspect of the Land Use Act will you want amended?
We intend to ensure that the Land Use Act is brought to the level so that the farmers can own land without obstacles, can have their certificate of occupancy, and whenever there is anything, as we arrange, as we said, because no financial institution will just release money to you, or rather finance your project without collateral. So if that is done, I believe we will pass through by the grace of God.
Thank you, UPP. I'd like to again appeal to the debaters to refrain from direct attack on candidates' personality or power. And we use the power vested in me. Any more breach, there will be sanctions.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. We go to education. As we know, sir, education is so central to any meaningful development, either horizontal or vertical development. But in recent times, we have witnessed in this country unending strife, both at the tertiary, secondary, and even primary. If elected, Nigerians are anxiously awaiting what your party will do to improve the quality and cost of education in Nigeria. Is it education for gain or education for growth?
All right, we'll start off with the PDP.
Thank you very much. The issue of education in Nigeria is a cardinal key point of the People's Democratic Party. And it was unfortunate that recently there were this strike at the university, but I'm pleased to say that that has already since been resolved and a concrete position has been reached. And the whole essence at the end of the day is that we jointly came up with solutions that will ensure better and more qualitative education for our children. We agreed that the federal government will contribute about 1.3 trillion naira in the next 5 years to the development of our universities. And this is in addition to almost over 100 billion annually that is being injected into the infrastructural development of our universities and then the human capacity development of our teachers. So therefore, in that direction, government has taken all the necessary steps to ensure that we address this incessant problem of strike by our teachers in the universities and other institutions of learning. In developing quality education, we are proud to say that today we are the first government in this country that within a minimum period of 4 years, we are able to build 12 brand new universities with the view that to allow access and to give opportunity to all Nigerians. Because we look at the position of tertiary education and we found out that there are 9 states in the northern part of the country and 3 states in the southern part of the country that do not have federal universities. And there is a policy that says there is need for the federal government to at least establish 1 university in each state of the federation. So we are happy today that we have been able to do that, and all these universities are working. And in addition to that, we upgraded the Police Institute in Kano, in Wudil, to a university awarding degree institution. And then also developed a maritime university in the south of this country.
Thank you. Barrister Bello Umar, United Progressives Party, UPP. Your turn.
In UPP, it is part of our agenda to give a compulsory universal education in both primaries and secondary schools. And yet we shall look at subsidizing the tertiary institutions. We shall equip our primary and secondary schools with the necessary facilities for the training of our children. It is our belief that the children of today are the leaders of tomorrow. By the time you give children good training, they will become good leaders. So our government will form enough money into education so that we can avoid the necessity of going on strike, thereby frustrating the education of our younger ones. That we shall pursue immediately we assume to office by the grace of God.
Thank you, UPP. It's your turn, COA Party. What will your government do to improve the quality and cost of education in Nigeria if voted into power?
So thank you very much. It is all known that education is a backbone of development of every society. So we must not relent our effort to ensure that we further strengthen our university and our education system to the greater level. It is in our desire that we will add more effort in bringing in professional courses that will produce professionals that will at least address some technical challenges that we are witnessing in our country as a nation. In so many countries, if there is a problem with the economic, with the situation, normally the government takes this problem to the university to allow the university to provide solution for such problem. I remember in some military era there are one kind design economic that was done by ABU Zaria and so. So this standard now is falling, and even the government is not even utilizing the universities adequately by allowing them to partner with the government in designing the program and project in some time. And also a recognition is not given to allow participation by the universities authorities in program design, unless if we want to use them in some other issues that has to do with training, and that's all. But in the issue of economy, in the issue of infrastructure, I think universities will also be allowed to be participating in designing and implementing some certain program. Maybe the Department of Architects will be allowed to design a very thorough program where the government is putting one kind of infrastructure in a certain area which is barely new in nature. And I think this partnership will add more synergy and quality to the university, and it also bring about source of income to the daily earning and source of income of that particular university. I think that is what we are going to add to what is there in place.
Thank you.
Just a follow-up to the education. I think Nigerians are waiting anxiously to know your plan on technical and vocational education? And also, I repeat, is your policy going to be education for growth or education for gain? Which way do we go? Which way you go?
All right, Kowa, we start off from you.
Normally, what? We prefer to go education for growth. And by creating additional number of institutions that will be technical institutions that will at least adhere to the developmental project, to education development of our younger generation. To create, this is another way that will allow people to acquire skilled knowledge that will help them to gain fully employed by themselves, not even by depending on the side of the government for the implementation of employment or unemployment. I think that is what we are going to do.
Thank you, PDP.
Thank you very much. The education, technical and vocational education, is one of the key areas that we are concentrating. As I speak, the Industrial Training Fund with the Brazilian institution and the German institute that supporting this training, which has proved success in Brazil and in Germany, we are working together in Nigeria to develop that system. And in order to do that and make it meaningful, this administration established the Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprises Council, which I chair. And in this council, we have the private sector, we have ITF, we have SMEDIN, and we have all the institutions. Previously, they are put in different MDAs and different categories. But now we have brought everything together, including the private sector. And we are working in such a manner that all the trainings are supported with financial support to those that are trained. And there is a provision of 220 billion naira central bank intervention fund, which already have started working. So therefore, the technical and vocational education is an area that this administration is already working on. Already Nigerians are benefiting from it, and it is working.
All right, thank you very much. UPP, please take your turn.
Yeah, in UPP we shall go for both the two, for growth and gain. We shall ensure that professionals are trained well and a level playing ground given to them so that they can attain the highest of their potentials. It is our belief that if you train a Nigerian and he utilizes that knowledge to develop Nigeria, Nigeria has gained. The gain is not only monetary. The development of the nation itself is a gain to the nation. So we shall ensure that proper consideration is given to vocational training centers, and we, in collaboration with other institutions, to make sure that our people, our children, our youths are well trained. We should provide all necessary facilities to those institutions so that they can have a good working environment, and in turn the nation will benefit from them. That's our stand.
Thank you, UPP.
Closely related to the issue of education is the need to industrialize the country. And considering that the steel industry is key to industrialization, what will you as vice presidential candidates and including your presidential candidate do when you are elected or re-elected, as the case may be, to revive the steel industries?
All right, UPP, it's your turn, please.
Yes, in UPP, immediately the mandate is given to us. We shall form a committee of professionals to advise the government on how to go about reviving those industries. And if resources permit, we establish more industries so that we can diversify the idea and at the end benefit from it. That's what we have in mind.
All right, thank you, UPP. And it's 296 days.
No.
Sorry.
I think
Oh, okay, I beg your pardon.
I will respond to the steel issue.
Thank you.
Yes, as we all know in this country, we have this long old standing, the Ajakuta steel plant. And I'm pleased to state that we have reached an advanced stage in privatizing that plant. Initially, there were issues to do with legal matters which have been resolved. But not only that, that we are reviving the Ajakuta steel plant, we have also developed a policy under the National Industrial Revolution Plan of this country that is attracting also the private sector participating in the steel industry. Only recently in Ogun State, a big steel plant was commissioned, and we have other steel plants all over the country. But most importantly, we have put in place the enabling environment that is attracting foreign direct investment in the steel industry in Nigeria. And that is the right way to go. The private sector are the drivers of these industries, and we are giving them all the facilities to ensure that we achieve our objective in that direction. And under this industrial policy, a lot of other sectors that include cement, auto, sugar, rice, we are already progressing in those directions. For cement, for example, by 2011, we are producing only about 17 million tons. As I speak, we are producing about 40 million tons of cement, and we are net exporter of cement today. So we believe in the steel industry will achieve that objective.
Thank you very much. And COA party, if your party is elected into power, what will you do differently to revive the steel industries?
Well, thank you very much. I think the focus will be readdressed, and also to look at the plan, look at the expertise. I agree with the idea of allowing the private sector to participate in this cement steel industry, because it is a long time issue. So many years about the steel industry, we cannot resolve them. But I think it's high time we are going to give time frame and to ensure that we complete the project and allow it to operate. Not only the Ajakuta and other steel industry. I think for the country to move forward, we need to add additional steel industry by collaborating with other developmental partners and also other private sector to go on to ensure that we place them and ensure that they are work, even for us to enable our industry to be creating job to Nigerians. I think that will be our position.
Thank you, Vice Presidential Candidate of COA Party, Seidu Bubai. Professor, you have the next question?
Thank you. The Nigerians watching us at home or listening to us are worried, sir, about the issue of corruption, impunity, money laundering, poverty of the mind, poverty of good governance, poverty of good character, poverty of rule of the law, not law of the rule. If your party is elected, what will you do to return Nigeria to the highest level in terms of these ills surrounding us every day?
All right, Kowa Party.
Well, the idea of corrupt practice, if I got it right, how did our party will go on to? Well, what we are going to do is that we are going to ensure that a technical measure have been provided, not to allow people even to go on to the corruption. And these measures will include openness, accountability, and transparency must be assured by those people in the authorities that are coordinating public funds. In addition to that, we are going to ensure that we strengthen the anti-corruption agency to perform their job diligently without fear or favor. Not only that, all those who commit, as my president have been saying, all those who commit impunity does not in any way deserve immunity. So we are going to adhere to this, but we must show discipline, we must show leadership by example. If we are not corrupt, we believe that all the subordinates will not be corrupt. And we are going to ensure that we put measures that will drastically stop the work of corruption and also give people their incentive. Salaries will be paid, allowances will be paid in a very good time. We are going to create avenue and measures that will reduce poverty in the hands of people. I think this will help, and also to transform the public sector to a situation whereby now the public sector will now feel that they are now comfortable and they are okay. The issue of gratuity and pension will also be addressed, so that people will now feel that if they are retired, what will they do again before they get their benefits? And these measures will also be considered so that we will not allow the corrupt practice to take part. And this is what we are going to start with.
All right, thank you. PDP, corruption, impunity, money laundering are issues bedeviling the country today. If your party gets the mandate to lead this country again, how do you plan to tackle these issues differently and radically too?
Thank you very much. I think we are already taking a different way, and which is proving a lot of successes. You see, corruption, people take corruption to be like an event. Corruption is not an event. Corruption has become a cancer. And you all know, for you to treat cancer, you have to open up the place, cut it off, and even sometimes you have to use nuclear treatment to cure that disease. So what we have to review, I'll give you an example. Before the civil war in this country, in the 60s, there was no armed robbery. But when armed robbery started, the consequences is death sentence. And when it started, people are put at the bar beach in Lagos and shot as armed robbers. And up to today, it attracts death sentence, and armed robbery is continuing. So, not only the issue of putting the agencies, etc. What we have innovated and brought new is to be able to attack this corruption in such a manner that people will not even have the access to resources that they will act in a corruptive manner. Take, for example, the solution we had on the fertilizer scam. Previously, the government spent averagely 100 billion naira annually to procure fertilizer that only about 10% reaches the farmers. But today we have the e-wallet system. Almost 90% of this fertilizer, the farmers get their fertilizer, and we have a saving of about 100 billion annually. In the civil service, we came up with an e-system of IPs, so that the whole salary of staff, now we have dealt away with the issue of ghost worker. Out of about 300 MDAs, we are able to arrest over 60,000 ghost workers and saved annually now about 200 billion naira. This is the way to go forward in addressing the issue of corruption. But that notwithstanding, we are continuing to strengthen the institutions. I'll give you an example. EFCC, within this period, have convicted over 400 people. Over 1,000 cases are in the court, and we have recovered over 300 billion naira from corruption in this country. So a lot is being achieved.
Thank you, PDP. Quickly, UPP, it's your turn.
Yeah. The menace corruption has been a vicious den in our society. In UPP, we have designed policies and strategies to fight it out of our society. We intend, if given the mandate, to ensure visitation of the relevant laws and the relevant enforcement agencies, to train them, equip them, and give them independence to fight corruption. If voted to power, we shall ensure that all public officers declare their assets annually, and we shall establish a monitoring body that will be monitoring those assets to the end of the officer's tenure. So also in the civil service. We believe by doing that, the public officers will be kept checked, and there will be no room for corruption. As well, where ill wealth is perceived, that monitoring body will query it, investigate it, and where necessary, prosecute it. And the money so accumulated be retrieved and paid back to the government coffers. By the grace of God, if we employ these strategies within the shortest possible time, corruption will be a history in Nigeria. And that's what we intend to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This will be the last set of questions.
Well, the Northeast geopolitical zone has been severely devastated by the ongoing insurgency. As vice presidential candidates of your parties, what recovery measures will you have or will you suggest for the Northeast if elected or re-elected, as the case may be?
All right, the PDP.
Thank you very much. It is unfortunate that in Nigeria we are experiencing the problem of terrorism, which is a new thing that has occurred in the world. Today we have terrorism going on in Afghanistan, Pakistan, Yemen, Somalia, northern Mali, and unfortunately Nigeria. And in Nigeria we have the problem of Boko Haram. Highly unfortunate. But I want to state here that the federal government is doing everything to ensure that we arrest this problem of insurgency and terrorism in Nigeria. We are strengthening in the area of security. We are strengthening our security agencies. We are ensuring that our army and other military personnel are properly kitted, properly equipped. You see, the issue here is that terrorism, as I said, was not part of the strategic plan of security in all countries that happen to experience this. And we met a situation where we have to quickly arrange and address, equip the army, retrain the army, and put them in a position that will address this menace. So that action is being taken. But not only that, on the other socio-political aspect, we are taking the necessary actions to ensure that those people that are affected, who have left their homes, are properly taken care of in either their IDPs or living with their family. We are also putting in place proper plans in the rehabilitation and redevelopment of those areas that the people that we were able to remove the Boko Haram menace and are going back. Like, for example, in Adamawa State, many of the local governments have been recovered today, and many actions are being taken to ensure that we support these people to redevelop and go back to their life. And different contributions are coming. You will recall that there is the Victim Support Fund that we have over $1 billion now. We have the Safe School initiative, which the federal government and other private sectors and other developing partners are putting hands together. So all the socio-political aspects.
Thank you. Thank you very much, UPP.
In UPP, we are going to give top priority to security. We believe we have the best security personnel in Africa. What we lack is the management of their resources. We shall ensure that security votes are strongly tied to security matters, and security personnel, the welfare of security personnel will be well protected. By doing so, we believe they will give their best services to their motherland. We shall ensure that our security personnel are engaged in day-to-day training so that they can be equipped with the modern security system in the world. When it comes to terrorism, massive and militancy, these are issues we can deal with and resolve it in either of the two ways. We can engage arbitration process. These people, they are human beings. They are known. Even international people used to come here, meet them, discuss with them. If somebody from France can come to Nigeria and meet Boko Haram, why not Nigerians? This is something we can sit down and discuss with them. What is their need? What do they want? Is this something allowed by our laws? If it is so, what is bad in doing it? To save the lives of Nigerians. If they prove to be so notorious, we go for the second alternative. We fight them out. We believe, it is my humble belief, that our army, if given the priority and the chance to do it, in less than 2 weeks, not even Boko Haram, they can fight the whole Africa. So why not do it? Give us the mandate and you will see what will happen in the next 6 months. Thank you.
Thank you, UPP and COA Party, and this will be the last question for the debaters.
Thank you very much. With regard to the issue of insurgents, that's why we are now saying that Look, Nigeria, we need to make a paradigm shift. When we witness a broken home, we need a woman to fix that home for us. What the good people of Northeastern required now is motherly intervention that has an inbuilt skill to address that issue. Nothing you can give to those people that left their houses, left their jobs, lost their loved one, to fix them and also to compensate what they have lost. Nothing. For you to even convince those people, I came from Adamawa State, for you to even convince these people, for them to go back to their respective home and village, I think you need serious work to do because of the fear that was installed on them. So you need, first, although these people are now refugees in the name of internally displaced person, if not for our culture and tradition, we used to accept our brothers and sisters across the border of religion or ethnicity to live together in our homes. These people would have been our refugees in their own country. So in this regard, however, government are there, they are doing their own effort. But we need to further add more effort to ensure that, one, security personnel, as have been said, were equipped adequately. And also, those people were given chance for another new life. And also to intensify security in that area that will convince these people that there is no longer hazard, there is no longer problem. They can go back to their respective homes and stay there without problem. So many things needs to do for this. Issues of the security and tactical measures of operation issue, this is a classified information. We cannot discuss issues that has to do with military and security in public. But I know military action will be taken decisively to ensure that we curtail this issue.
And that will
Thank
be
you
all
very
for
much.
the questions. Thank you. At this point, I'd like to ask the debaters, beginning with the candidate for UPP, to give your closing remarks very briefly too. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. It is my belief that the epitomism of leadership is for one to believe in a good cause and to stay past, fight for that cause with vision, courage, and focus. My president, Sachoko Sokori, is a holder of doctorate in humanity and leadership. Behind him is a man with legal mind. We are addressed and called as learned men. We are not learned because we know everything. No, because we are trained with the skill of finding solutions to problems. I call on Nigerians to rally around us, give us their mandate, and we assure them of better Nigeria tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you, PDP.
Thank you, the moderator. I want to seize this opportunity to again thank you for the opportunity to address Nigerians. The People's Democratic Party, we have always said it, particularly in the campaign rallies we have been going, that the issue of governance and leadership requires people with the wealth of experience. Our president in the People's Democratic Party is somebody that was a lecturer. He was a deputy governor. He was a governor. He was a vice president, acting president, and a president. He's a PhD holder, a scientist. And myself as his vice president. I'm an architect. I work as a civil servant as from 1976. I was the first architect when Bauchi State was created. I was appointed commissioner 10 years after in 1986 in Kaduna State. I was commissioner for 5 years. And I was the governor of Kaduna State in 2007 for 3 years before Mr. President assigned me as his vice president, and we were elected in 2011. The wealth of this experience has already been demonstrated in the last 4 years. We have moved Nigeria forward. And we want to move Nigeria forward and forward and forward to the extent that our country will be one of the most 20 developed countries in the world. And already we have gone to that extent where the World Bank and other international agencies has confirmed that India, Turkey, and Nigeria are today the fastest growing economies because of the policies of development we have put in Nigeria. So therefore, I want to seize the opportunity in this closing remark to draw the attention of Nigerians that it is for us to continue with a wise decision and elect President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan come the 14th of February 2015, because he is the president that will move this country
Thank
forward.
you. Your time is up. Kowa Party.
Well, thank you very much. Ours is an answer to a call. In fact, call to duty, if you like to say. There are so many calls by Nigerians that there is a need for us to make a paradigm shift. There is a call even by the most of our politicians that women should be given chance to participate in an elective position. And that's why for the first time in history, we are now bringing a woman. Not because only she is a woman, but we believe she can perform. We believe she has that skill. We believe she is a mother. We believe she is responsible, she is disciplined. And what Nigeria requires now in this crucial moment is a leader that is not attributed to a weakness, neither attributed to a very strong or too conservative. This woman that we brought in as our presidential candidate, we want to make a difference. And we want you to help us to make a difference. Let's allow transformation agenda to transform Nigeria from the paternal system of leadership to maternal system of leadership, whereby a woman will rise, move the nation forward for liberty, for prosperity. And also, if it is true that, yeah, we are yearning and aspiring to have women in an elective position, so many women have performed. Forget about those that were appointed. I remember there was Aisha Binani, a member of the House of Representatives. She done so many things beautifully to the development of her constituency. A member of House of Representatives. And if a member of House of Representatives will perform wonderfully, what of a woman if she is elected as a president of Nigeria? Please, youth and women of Nigeria, let us let her repeat that scenario that occurred, one woman, one vote. Please, let us massively vote for Professor Oluremi Shonaya, the presidential candidate of Kowa Party. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That response from the vice presidential candidate for the COA party, KP, brings this debate, the vice presidential elections debate 2015, to an end. I'd like to very humbly request the candidates to again exchange pleasantries. You may wish to embrace or have a handshake. Thank you. And of course, the audience, once again, I'd like to ask the audience to acknowledge with a very resounding applause. Thank you very much. And at this point, I'd like to invite onto the dais the Chairman Board of Trustees, NEDG, Mr. Shola Omoli. I'd also like to invite on the dais the Chairman, NEDG Debate Format and Rules Working Committee, Aremo Taiwo Alimi, and of course the DG Voice of Nigeria, onto the dais for the presentation of certificates of participation. Thank you. And DG FRCN as well. No. Once again, I'd like to acknowledge those who have participated in this debate. We have the vice presidential candidate of the COA party, KP, Seidu Bobai. Please, audience, you may wish to applaud. I'd like to also invite onto the dais Mr. Tony Akiotu of DAS Communication. Thank you. Mr. Tony Akiotu, please. And the vice presidential candidate for the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Architect Mohammed Namadi Sambo. And the last but certainly not the least, we have the vice presidential candidate representing the United Progressives Party, UPP, Barrister Bello Omar. All right, distinguished debaters, wonderful audience, that's it. The third debate in the series of 20. All right, while, of course, the gentlemen on the dais take their seats, I'd just like to say the third debate in the series of 2015 vice presidential debates comes to an end right now. The 2015 presidential debate is brought to you by the Nigerian Elections Debate Group, NEDG, with support from INEC, NOA, BON, NUJ, NGA, that's Nigerian Guild of Editors, NDI, and DFID. BON member stations are our official broadcasters, African Independent Television, AIT, and the Nigeria Television Authority, NTA, are the official production stations for global distribution of the 2015 debate signal. Africa's biggest radio network, Radio Nigeria, is our official radio station. To our viewers across the globe, we thank you immensely for watching, and to our radio audience, many thanks for listening and for staying with us. We'd like to round off the 2015 vice presidential debate with a big round of applause as we rise for the national anthem. Good night. Thank you, everyone, and good night.